Thank you, Lily. Good morning and welcome home to Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation as we gather today to celebrate Earth Day and our commitment to stop climate change. Please silence your personal electronic devices or put them on stun. Please read the weekly Community Connections that arrives each Thursday electronically. It has all the information. Tuesday is Taco Tuesday, our online gathering to chat and learn what's happening in each other's lives. After service today on the patio, the Justice Committee set up a table with information about the Green Sanctuary 2030 project. Please stop by and learn about this project because at our congregational meeting next month, we will vote as a congregation on whether to commit to this project for the next 2 to 3 years. Also, the pledge team needs your help with setup on Saturday, April 29th, next Saturday, noonish, 11 o'clock, noonish. And they need help with cleanup on Sunday, April 30th, as we have our first potluck gathering in over 3 years. Contact Debbie, she's right there at the back, for details, to sign up, and to help. The annual congregational meeting will take place after service on Sunday, May 21st. The congregation will be voting on new leadership, approval of the 2023-2024 budget, adopting the teams model for community management, the Green Sanctuary Project 2030, and the process that we're going to use in the 23-24 year as we explore approval and adoption of the 8th principle and the Section 2 revisions to the principles and promises. Information on each of these items will appear in the next couple of weeks. And to the young adults, next Sunday after the potluck, so we will feed you and then you can go to the potluck. After the potluck, the young adults group will be meeting. See Robert, our DLRE, for details, and see him about, for those of you who understand, signing up for the Discord server. Thank you very much.
And I'm Catherine Rowlee, your lay leader for today. And we will sound the bowl with our shortened version. So, as we enter into our time of worship, we sound the bowl 3 times. Once for those who came before. Once for those of us here and now. And once for those who will come for the future. Our opening words are by Margaret Kep. As surely as we belong to this universe, we belong together. We join here to transcend the isolated self, to reconnect, to know ourselves, to be at home, here on the earth, under the stars, linked with each other. Our opening song is Morning Has Broken, and please feel free to rise in body and or spirit as we sing. And now we light our chalice. I'm asking our speaker, beloved Amy Randall, to light our chalices, our Calipian Partnership chalice, and our chalice, our official chalice of our faith. And I light it with these words. They're a little long, but they're good, I think. In the beginning, there was light, infinite and expansive, flowing out from an unseen center. Throughout creation, there is light, from the steady sun, the glowing moon, the flashing meteor, the twinkling stars, and the auroras dancing in the northern skies. Within each part of creation, there is light, slowed down and held close by every cell and molecule, by each atom and each element within you. There is light. The same light as the source, the same radiance that is in all creatures. May this small flame, or these small flames that we have kindled, be a constant reminder to you of your true nature, of the light within you, and of the kinship with all beings. And with that, this could be an up and down event, and I know we don't always go up and down, but let's rise up and speak our covenant together, and let us sing together afterwards, Spirit of Life. Okay. We affirm that love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve the world in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. And we'll sing first in English and then in Spanish. And now I call up Robert Tidwell, our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, with a story for all ages.
Good morning, everybody. Today's story is The Soil That Sustains Us, and it's by Ariel Aronson Eves. The dictionary defines soil as the upper layer of earth in which plants grow, or a black or dark brown material typically consisting of a mixture of organic remains, clay, and rock particles. But I like to think of soil as a community. There are three main mineral components of soil: clay, sand, and silt. There's also a little bit of organic matter made from decayed plant and animal material. When organic matter is really broken down so it can't decompose anymore, it's called humus, which shares a root with the word human. In addition to minerals and organic matter, also in the soil are billions of microorganisms. Microorganisms are tiny, tiny little life forms like bacteria and fungi. These microbes, together with the roots of the plants, make up the community of soil. Just like we humans need to get certain nutrients from our body to be healthy, so too do plants. Plants are sunlight powered to make their own food out of air and water. But just like we can't live healthy off of only carbs, there are some other nutrients that plants need that they can't get through photosynthesis. Luckily, they've developed a system of exchange with soil microbes. The microbes are able to break down minerals and rocks or capture nutrients from the air. In this and other ways, they get nutrients into forms that the plants can take up. In exchange, the plants feed the microbes sugars. All this is happening under the soil surface. This is what happens in healthy soils. The system of cooperation breaks down when the plants stop needing the microbes. Why would they stop needing the microbes? When we heavily apply chemical fertilizers, the plants get addicted to the quick fix. They are freed from the slow process of relationship building, of having to share. If the plants are annuals, they'll be gone next year, and the community system will have broken down. The next year's crops will need the chemical fertilizer to do well because the relationship between plants and soil microbes had suffered. It will take years to restore. But the degradation is preventable and restoration is possible. It just takes a lot of care and learning to see crops not simply as products that we take out of the land, but as part of our valuable community. And that all starts with soil, learning to see soil as more than just dirt. You might even think of it as sacred. And thank you. And now if Riley could come and get our chalice and Jaryus can put the words on the screen, you guys can sing us to our class.
Well, this is the pledge drive moment. So I'm calling Carissa.
Good morning. So before I give you this week's update, I want to give you two numbers. The first number is $87,390. Now, this is the amount we raised during last year's pledge drive. The second number is $111,270. Now, this is the amount pledged for this fiscal year as of January. This includes all new members and everyone who turned in their pledge cards after last year's pledge drive. Now, our pledge drive totals as of Monday the 17th. 43 pledge units, consisting of 54 members and friends, have pledged a total of $101,975. We are $9,295 away from the total amount pledged for all of the current year. And we still have one more week to go. So, yay! Speaking of 1 week, committee chairs. Your forms are due 1 week from today. I have received 3 so far, and none of them are the ones that include people's salaries. The Finance Committee is beginning the budget construction process this week, so please, on behalf of Lily, Jaryus, and the rest of our amazing staff, please get your budget request forms in by next Sunday. Also next Sunday, potluck. Remember to bring food. If you can help, let Debbie know. And everyone who submits their pledge card by the end of next Sunday will be entered into a raffle to win one of our Pledge Drive mascots. So yay! So we have Rocky and we have Lucky. So you can win one of these if you've turned your pledge card in by next Sunday. Or no, the 7th. We're doing the drawing on the 7th, so you have to have your pledge card in by the time Tracy counts them Monday morning. Okay. And on that note, to tell us why she pledges to MVUUC, I will turn the microphone over to a woman who has probably filled out more budget request forms than most of us ever will, Miss Catherine Rowlee.
And I promise they're almost ready.
You got a week.
Sorry, it was funny because I didn't really plan that I was going to be doing all this speaking today. But and this is also funny that a little while ago I ran across this thing here that I'm going to read that I'm going to do we're having a redo from 2009, okay? These are my words from 2009, and I'm going to read them exactly the way they were written then because they're still 100% true and apropos. Okay, I have to find them though. I hope I do. Here it is. And I did walk through the doors of this place first in, I think it was like 1998. So, and I took a little break because I didn't know about pledging, and I didn't meet my pledge, and I thought I couldn't come if I didn't meet my pledge. So I waited a year till I had made it and the new one up, and then I came back. And so I have a little, I always try to encourage people, I encourage people to pledge, but I also encourage people if something happens and they can't make their pledge to speak with someone about it and not stop coming because you still belong here at your home. So this is called Feels Like Home to Me. Home is where, when you get there, the door is open and you walk right in because you belong there. And even if you question even that sometimes, as you engage in your ongoing search for personal truth and meaning, home is the place where it's safe to question, because it's home. Home is where you can raise your young, and they raise themselves, of course, and celebrate your joys and your sorrows and your fears. Home is where you dedicate your babies and mourn the loss of loved ones. Home is where you work together to create and maintain growing, always changing space that nurtures and supports and sustains all those within. Home is core principles and purposes and as many paths to the door as there are people. Home is where you can be vulnerable and not always at your best every day. But you will probably still get a hug if you want it. That was pre-COVID, but, and it is still home. Home is not always tranquil, and sometimes it can be even downright unsettling, but it's dynamic, and it always presents opportunities for reflection and growth. Home is digging in the earth and trimming and pulling weeds and painting and cleaning up messes. Home is eating together and talking together and making decisions. Home is leading and following, listening and talking. Home is paying the bills and making ends meet. Home is commitment and dedication and time. Home is where you gain strength and courage of heart to speak out, to reach out, to give outside of yourself. Home is where together you are more than you are alone. It sure feels like home here to me. So, that's why I pledge. Because I think that's the point here, but it's also a lot more. Okay, and so, right now is a time our offering, our Sunday offering. And if you have an offering, you may come up and place it in the baskets. And if you're online, it's time to, if you haven't already, you can click our button online and make a donation online as we listen to some beautiful music. There were no joys and sorrows or concerns or anything in the basket today, and I don't know if there are any online. I don't have my little personal computer. Do we have any messages? The volume's better. Okay, I would say we don't. Is that real? Hi, Marlene and Patrick. Thank you, Jaryus. Okay, wow, I know we just don't have anything that we want to say today. I can say something, I suppose, because some of you may be wondering. I've been not around very much because I've been taking care of my sister who had a horrific surgery, and she recovered from that, but didn't really get all the way better, and it turns out she has a really extremely awful cancer. And we're going to see Monday how far it spread. So my life's been really there, and work and everywhere else, making budgets, but really there. So I have to be very careful not to, she has autoimmune disease too, so I can't be around people a lot. But I love you all, and I've appreciated all your support. So, and I know in all of our hearts, we're holding a lot of sorrow and a lot of worry and concern right now. And at the same time, there are things in our lives that bring us joy, and we work to seek to find those things because they're what hold us up in this really time that sometimes just seems difficult. So let's take a moment just to please enter into a time of silent sort of prayer and meditation. And I have a little, I guess, just something I got for this. So let's just sit quietly and take a breath and feel ourselves. Still your heart a little. Let us just feel ourselves together in this place that we come. And know that even though we may not have expressed anything today, most of us, that we recognize in one another that we need to care and support one another. And let's take a moment to feel grateful that we have a place like this to come and be in community and be supported. Because life can be difficult. And it's places like this that help us move forward and become our best selves. It's places like this that give us a chance to reach out to one another, to give love, to give comfort, to celebrate together. To celebrate just being together, to celebrate our wonderful faith that holds the earth and all of its beings in such high regard, that as a part of our covenant, we are a part of the web of life, and that we are one with all humanity, all beings on this earth. Let us just hold the love that we have in our hearts. Let us turn it to ourselves for a moment. Let's turn it to the people that are in this room with us. And with great gratitude, let us extend our love out to all those that we know may be hurting, who may need our love and support. And in gratitude, we just say, thank you. Lily. Our reading today is by John Ruskin. There is religion in everything around us, a calm and holy religion in the unbreathing things of nature. It is a meek and blessed influence stealing in, as it were, unaware upon the heart. It comes quickly and without excitement. It has no terror, no gloom. It does not rouse the passions. It is untrammeled by creeds. It is written on the arched sky. It looks out from every star. It is on the sailing cloud and in the invisible wind. It is among the hills and the valleys of the earth, where the shrubless mountaintop pierces the thin atmosphere of the eternal winter, or where the mighty forest fluctuates before the strong wind with its dark waves of green foliage. It is spread out like a legible language upon the broad face of an unsleeping ocean. It is the poetry of nature. It is that which uplifts the spirit within us and which opens our imagination, which opens to our imagination a world of spiritual beauty and holiness. I'm going to say that again. It is that which uplifts the spirit within us and which opens our imagination to a world of spiritual beauty and wholeness. And to continue with that thought, I'd like to introduce anybody who doesn't know Amy Randall, who's been here a long time. We've given a lot of love to this place.
Well, thank you, Catherine. And good morning. Do you recall a time when you felt a oneness with nature? That feeling where the boundaries between yourself and nature just disappeared and a deep sense of peace and connectedness permeated everything? And you knew you were a part of something larger than yourselves? Well, my first time realizing that was as a young teenager when we were visiting Yosemite National Park. My parents, my siblings, and I were staying in a cabin just outside the park. And I went to take a solitary walk out back on a lovely day. I sat down underneath a large ponderosa pine and closed my eyes, and the world just seemed to melt away. I remember the sun's rays shining on me, and the sounds of birds, and the feeling of wind on my face. And I recall feeling very peaceful and calm, and I knew that everything was one. And recently, I found out that this experience has a name, Unitarian, spelled E-U-T-I-E-R-R-I-A. It was coined by Australian professor and environmental philosopher Glenn Albrecht in the year 2010. He combined the Greek prefix EU, which means good, with tierra, earth, and IA, a condition. So Unitarian is, quote, a good and positive feeling of oneness with the earth and its life forces. This feeling is one where the boundaries between self and the rest of nature are obliterated and a deep sense of peace and connectedness pervades consciousness, end quote. Albrecht wanted a secular word for the feeling, as most religious and spiritual writings call it that oceanic feeling. Well, you do not necessarily have to experience Unitarian in order to enjoy nature or get the benefits from nature, whether it's hiking to majestic waterfall, looking up to towering redwoods, river rafting in the Grand Canyon, or staring at the night sky in the desert. You can sense deep feelings. And in the past 10 years, there have been numerous studies performed on the benefits that experiences on nature have on humans. And as a daughter of a neurobiologist, I want to know how nature nurtures us. What are its positive impacts, and why do they happen? Well, my journey with the nurture of nature probably began about the age of 5. I would walk to the end of our street where there was a dirt road and 3 large rocks. And I would climb on those natural friends and ponder the universe in a way that only a child knows how to do. Now, scholars in the field of wilderness therapy and environmental psychology have shown that time alone in nature benefits all of us. Being alone in nature provides time and space for us to step back and reflect on life. And children, too, need time alone. They have to connect with their own feelings and their views of the world. And it offers all of us an opportunity to clarify the thoughts, hopes, dreams, and desires. Now, I'm not really sure of the benefits of my solitary journeys at age 5, but I knew that my rocks were very important to me. Because when my parents, myself, and 2 younger brothers left Ohio for California, I had to say goodbye to my first natural sanctuary. Well, once I moved to California, I couldn't walk down the street anymore to get away from the hustle and bustle of life. But I did have a fun treehouse in the backyard, and that's where I like to hang out. I enjoyed that treehouse so much that after having 2 brothers, when my mom was pregnant with child number 4, I told my parents that if I did not get a baby sister, I was moving out into that treehouse. Well, not only did I get a baby sister, but in the next 7 years, I got 3 more sisters after that. And however, I really doubt I could have lived in that treehouse like Thoreau lived at Walden Pond. At least I had a notion, though, that my natural surroundings were important to me. Excuse me. Thoreau spent 2 years in that cabin in order to live as simply and self-sufficiently as possible. He emphasized the transcendental nature of human harmony with nature and that everything is connected and everything is one. And more importantly, he perceived nature as a source of wisdom and spiritual nourishment. Now, in order to enhance the importance and appreciation for myself and my siblings, my parents would pack us 7 kids into our station wagon every summer and travel the Southwest. Our itinerary could read like the Automobile Club travelogue. We visited the world-famous Grand Canyon, the rock formations of Monument Valley, and the sandstone pueblos of Canyon de Chelly. I was awestruck by the natural beauty, whether I was gazing on them afar or hiking in the midst. And I was always aware that my parents revered nature, but it was not until that I was an adult that I appreciated all they had done for us. Early in this part of the century, they purchased a condominium in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and they spent summers at Grand Teton National Park. It became a wonderful place for family reunions and a perfect place for my children to enjoy nature. The Tetons and other national parks were always an ideal vacation place, whether growing up for me or later for my kids, as they really taught us the importance of nature. John Muir, the earliest activist and advocate for the national park system, built his case by claiming that nature had healing powers for both the mind and the body. And although there was not hard scientific evidence back in his time, the idea was not new. About 2,500 years ago, Cyrus the Great built gardens in the capital of Persia. They were built to provide sanctuary from the pervasive desert heat and for relaxation. Their name was Pasargadae, the Persian garden, and it had many natural elements like water features, which most gardens in those days did not have in that time. The ancient Greeks believed that mental and physical health of people were interrelated. They thought that the body and the mind should be in harmony with each other. The most famous and probably the most important medical figure in ancient Greece was Hippocrates, and we know him today as a father of medicine. His approach was based on the healing power of nature. According to this doctrine, the body contains within itself the power to rebalance and heal itself. And Hippocrates' most significant point was that there needed to be harmony between the individual and the natural environment. Now, in the 1600s, there was even more interest to people in looking at nature as a health benefit. Citizens who often lived in cramped conditions and worked in dirty factories were thought to need the opportunity for clean, fresh air. And in London, Hyde Park was open to the wider public for the first time, as previously it had only been a hunting ground for rich people. And more parks were built in more European cities. During the late 1800s, medical science developed as a result of the increased knowledge of human physiology. And so nature at that time was seen less and less as a resource. But when modern medicine did not seem to help the rehabilitation of soldiers after both world wars, nature came back into being because it was found that both animal and garden care were successful therapies. In the last 40 years, modern research on the impact of nature to human health began to flourish. An enormous range of benefits have been studied, including physiological, cognitive, social, and psychological. Excuse me. Thank you. The breakthrough came in 1980 when environmental psychologist Roger Ulrich demonstrated that patients who were exposed to nature after undergoing surgery healed faster and had less pain. His research showed that patients underwent physiological changes, including relaxed brain activity, lower blood pressures, and increased dopamine release. And dopamine is that chemical in the brain that makes you feel good. In 2005, the physiological effects of Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, were conducted. 24 Japanese forests all across Japan were used in this study. Participants walked in either a forest or a city area, and experiments showed that immersion in the forest led to a lower concentration of the stress hormone cortisol, a lower pulse rate, and lower blood pressure. In the last decade, numerous scientific studies have been conducted on the influence of nature to improve cognitive performance. Experiments have been shown to improve memory formation and recall, significantly short-term memory. One study randomly assigned participants to walk in either a natural or an urban environment. And before and after these walks, the participants completed a series of cognitive functioning tasks. Compared to the urban walk, the participants on the nature walks saw an increase in their working memory performance. Now, socially, contact with nature elicits increased social cohesiveness. In a 2-week nature-based study, participants were required to take photographs of their surroundings and report their emotional experiences. The participants assigned to the nature condition reported elevated levels of connectedness to other people, and they tended to engage more generously with tasks of allocating money to strangers and with projects that included helping others. As for psychological benefits, studies show that people who are more connected with nature are usually happier. Research at the Mental Health Foundation found that spending time outdoors was one of the key factors enabling people to cope with the stress of the recent COVID pandemic. And before this, Dutch researchers found that people who lived within a half-mile area of green space had a lower incidence in 15 diseases, including depression, anxiety, and migraines. But it's not only green spaces that have benefits. When I was in high school and feeling a bit down, I would take short jaunts down to the beach just to sit and stare out at the ocean. It certainly improved my moods. And about 10 years ago, a marine biologist by the name of Wallace Nichols was influential in promoting the blue mind theory. And this blue mind theory says that the mildly meditative state people fall into is quite, sorry, let me start that again. That the blue mind theory is the mildly meditative state that people fall into when they're near, in, under, or on water. Now, Nicholas' research showed that being near water can make you feel happy, healthier, and more relaxed. And the benefits of these blue spaces include reduced anxiety, easing mental fatigue, and an overall feeling of rejuvenation. So how does this all work? How does nature nurture us? Well, David Strayer, a cognitive psychologist at the University of Utah, explains that even though our brains are amazing organs, they get fatigued, and our brains need to relax, just like our overworked muscles too. The daily stresses of life can wear us down, both physically and mentally. Strayer has called this the 3-day effect, where you essentially wipe the clutter out of your brain and totally immerse yourself in nature, away from electronics. Now, of course, smaller amounts of time out in nature helps us too. And even though more remote and biodiverse spaces may be particularly helpful, even urban parks and trees can lead to positive outcomes. Researchers at the National Academy of Sciences surmise that nature produces benefits to our well-being, regardless of how much time one spends outdoors. And building nature into cities can support our overall health. Activities like dog walking, jogging, cycling, and gardening are all supported in many cities. And it's widely understood that physical activity improves human health, but how parks, lakes, trees, and other urban green spaces boost our overall well-being is still being studied today. So whether you travel near or far, spend a week or an hour, participate in walking, camping, biking, gardening, or just sitting on your favorite rock, we all just need time to be with the trees, the birds, and the landscape. In fact, just a few days ago, my husband and I visited the Antelope Valley, California Poppy Reserve. We hiked to a beautiful viewpoint, and the vast sea of orange and yellow flowers were not only dazzling to the eye, they made us feel happy. And truthfully, we do not seek nature because science tells us to do it. It is because it makes us feel good. So take some time, go outside, and enjoy nature. Your brain will also benefit. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. That was awesome. Thank you. And perfect for Earth Day. Of course, I have to figure out where I am. Okay, our closing song for the beauty of the earth. It's number 21 in the gray hymnal, and feel free to rise and sing out with joy at the beauty of the earth. And now we extinguish our chalice, but as we always say, not the light. We hold that inside of ourselves as we go about our week. And until we meet again, these are our words of benediction. As we go forth from this sacred space, may we celebrate the earth and our shared lives. May we recognize our connections to all that is in and on the earth. May we truly and deeply value the inherent worth of all. In this awesome interconnected web of existence, may we commit ourselves to a new way, and may we hold our commitments and each other gently yet firmly. Blessed be. Amen. Go in peace. Be makers of peace.